The Eagles are booing and the NBA trades fly. And the moment you have all been waiting for, I know, we are going to talk rugby or not, maybe some golf, that and more today on The Benchmark. What's up, guys? Welcome back to The Benchmark. I'm your host, Marky Mark, and I am joined by two people today. The first and foremost, as always, the illustrious, the purple people eater himself, the vicious hater of the Eagles, Benny Boo.
All true statements.
And then we are joined by the illustrious beast from the East, the Bears lover himself, Da Bears.
Facts.
We have
Facts.
Ben. What's up, man?
Hey man, it's good to be here. Good to be here with the LeBron lover. You know, Mark Cannon's favorite player of all time. He has his jersey on in the shower and LeBron pajamas.
Ben, I will cut you.
I'm
This
glad
is
to
so
be
bad.
here.
Oh my gracious, you're such a Okay, what a way to start this podcast. So guys, before we get into it, as always, I'm going to start it off this way. If you guys could subscribe to our channel, YouTube, Twitter, listen to our podcast, subscribe there, share it with your friends and family on all the social media stuff. That would help us. We're just trying to grow a little bit. Would love to interact with more people. So first and foremost, do that. Like our videos, like all of our stuff, leave good comments. Not like the dumb comments Jed leaves us. But no, anyway, we'll get into it. So no, we're not talking rugby first. I don't know if you guys know this much about it. So Benny Boo, I'm going to test you a little bit. Do you know what waste management is?
I mean, I know what waste management as far as like they're coming around and taking our waste away. Like, yes, but I don't know.
I'm not talking about that.
I assume you're talking about golf.
Yeah, the Waste Management Open. So, which is here in Phoenix. So I actually got to go to the Pro-Am, which is like the day before they start playing. So it was Wednesday. They start playing Thursday. So it was like you had like Larry Fitzgerald, JJ Watt, people like that playing with the pros, getting their practice round in. So if you don't know anything about the Waste Management Open, they are notorious. This is a party all over the place. Like I guarantee you 80-90% of the people that are there know nothing about golf. They're there to drink and party. That's it, dude. And we can see that by the streaker that they had who ran onto the 16th hole, did a lap dance on the pole at the hole, and then ran away and went to the 17th hole where he jumped in the lake and climbed onto the WM that is in the middle of the lake. He climbed onto it. Dude, he's nothing but a Speedo, so he wasn't truly streaking, but like, bro.
I didn't know golf gets crazy like that.
Yeah.
Waste management
does a bunch of golf claps and pleated pants.
So that's the funniest thing about this tournament is it is known to be crazy. So like when you go to when you're on like any hole, they're not quiet. Everyone's talking, everyone's doing stuff, cheering. 16, like if you don't get it on the green, they boo you. So like I watched on the last day, like guys hit on the green, it would roll off and they just get booed. Like last year, there was 2 hole-in-ones on 16. 16 is the big hole. It's covered by an entire stadium. And I mean, everybody's yelling. I mean, it is so loud. And that's what this place is known for. That's what Waste Management's known for.
Is it streamed ever?
Oh yeah. It was on TV.
Check it out.
It was on NBC.
Man, Phoenix has been killing it lately, man. You got the Super Bowl, you got Kevin Durant.
Man.
This guy named Mark Cannon moved there a few years ago.
I mean, just taking names
up in the world.
Crazy. But yeah, no, the 16th hole is crazy. When I was there, so I got to be in a box suite, or I don't know if it's called a box suite. I don't know what you call it, but I was on the upper level because my boss had connections. I got to go, which was really cool because I've always wanted to go. And now with the Pro-Am, they played music non-stop. I mean, it was thumping. And I was just like, oh my gracious, like, it's so loud. I couldn't hear myself. Yeah, it was fun. I mean, it was a great day. I'm going to post some pictures of it. But anyway, we'll move on to the most important thing of the day. Well, let's talk Super Bowl. So Ben,
do it.
Dude, It was a good game. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but like, it's so hard. I have to say, Ben, I could mean either of you. So, but like, the ending was a little anticlimactic, and we'll get there. We'll talk about that. But like, man, starting off like first quarter, I know in our group chat we were just like, man, this might be a high scoring affair.
Right.
What'd you guys think?
No, yeah, I was really just. I think I put on social media that I didn't really. It was the first time in a while where I didn't want one team to lose. Right. If Tom Brady's ever in a uniform, I don't care what. If he's playing for the Apostles or like I'm always going to cheer against that team.
The what?
he can basically he can play for the Boys and Girls Club for your favorite charity, and I'll root against that charity.
Wow, Ben.
Tom Brady's ever like so. I mean,
how I feel about LeBron
in there. So I usually like there's one team that I really don't want to win, and since the Bears are never in it, I guess I'm cheering for the other team. This is the first time in a while that I'm like, man, I like Patrick Mahomes a lot, and I love the Jalen Hurts story. I was okay with either of those teams winning. I maybe a slight nod, going for Jalen Hurts just because of his backstory and underdog. I love that stuff, but I mean, I was okay. I was just hoping for a good game, even in my prayer over my food. I was.
Oh
like,
my word!
Seriously, I was like, I hope it's a good game, and it was, man. It was. I was until the end. Yeah, until the end. That's.
I will laugh. I don't know if you guys saw this. So like they showed LeBron on the big screen in the stadium here in Glendale, and he got booed.
Yeah. Didn't he put like a?
He put his crown on. I was about to say he put his crown on.
Yeah.
He don't care.
Yeah. Nope. Benny Boo, what'd you think?
Oh, it was a fantastic game. I definitely had thought the Eagles were going to probably beat them by 2 touchdowns because of the health reasons for the Chiefs. But I mean, Mahomes definitely showed up. I honestly was very surprised the Chiefs defense made a few stops the win they did, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, they're definitely not as good as the Eagles, but then the Eagles defense, in my opinion, didn't get any pressure on Mahomes.
There's no sacks.
On the second half,
no sacks.
Especially the second half.
Yeah, especially second half. I mean, Mahomes tore him apart second half.
Well, I know they interviewed like, is it Behemini or something like that? I don't know. It's the offensive coordinator.
Eric Bieniemy.
Yeah, however you say that. Like they interviewed him, and I think it was before or after the game, and he pretty much said, "Listen, we're trying to get rid of the ball in 2.5 seconds." Because listen, that offensive line is actually underrated. Like they were really good last night. I mean, that Eagles and here's the thing that I think I put in the chat maybe, or I think I may have just said to my cousin Ben, but like the Eagles, in my opinion, were the better team.
Yeah,
I think they were. I think
on paper, yeah, definitely.
Right.
Well, I just think like you look at they're a top 3 offense, they're a top 10 defense. I mean, they've got the best of both worlds in that sense. Whereas the Chiefs have they're probably the number 1 offense, and then they probably have like a top 20 defense, give or take, top 15 maybe, but like and that's where people always say all you need is a really good offense and like a middle of the road defense to win. And the Chiefs got, I'm going to say 3 stops. It was really 2. They stopped them twice where they punted the ball or got rid of it. And then there was another time they stopped them and they got a field goal that was right there at the end of the first half. And that was a stop. I mean, that's a stop because they didn't score a touchdown.
Yeah.
So the biggest stop was the turnover that turned into a touchdown. That was
I didn't even count that one. I didn't even count
that was Jalen Hurts' only mistake. It was costly. Besides that, he had a perfect game. I felt sorry for him. I mean, he had 3 perfect, elite as a thrower and as a runner. I mean, he was amazing.
I was going to say the Eagles. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's cool. I was just gonna back thinking about the Eagles defense just like shutting down in the second half. I saw some stat that Kansas City Chiefs converted 93.7% of their first downs in the second half. The only one they didn't convert was that kneel by Jerick McKinnon, when he did it on purpose. So the only one they didn't convert was that one, So,
I mean, yeah. I think the biggest thing, though, if you really think about it, Andy Reid out-coached the Eagles staff. Like it was like that. They were breaking it down. I'll be honest. Some people may not like Greg Olsen. I thought Greg Olsen did a good job commenting on the game. But it's one of those that they broke down how they did the same play. Right. They did it twice or 2 or 3 times with different people. And the Eagles overcompensated every time, and they got burned every single time. And like, you just saw them get just outcoached, which personally I love, because let's just be honest, the Eagles coaching staff is one of the most arrogant and smug like acting. And I'm like, he fits Philly, like he does. Like,
I mean, they're young and they're smart, and
They are.
they're savvy, and they so that it comes with the territory like that. You kind of got that Sean McVay kind of swagger to him. But
they
I
lost,
mean,
so bye.
Yeah, Andy Reid's and Bieniemy's experience definitely played out, especially in those red zone. Like Patrick Mahomes was amazing, but those red zone plays he had, the player was wide open, and that all had to do with play calling. I mean,
Dude,
the
Sky
defense
Moore
was on the whole.
so wide open.
Yeah.
The dude wasn't even close.
And even though I think it was McKinnon, I forgot, or maybe I forgot who it was, but even that red zone play before that they scored on. I mean, the defense on the Eagles are all to the left. I mean that's all play calling. He faked them out, moved
no,
that
it
line
is. I
right
mean,
for hike. Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those that when you really, we all knew Patrick Mahomes was really good, but like this solidifies, right. That's an understatement. I know, Ben, like you posted, you think he's the most talented of all time.
Maybe I think he's right now. I think
right
now, he's not. I mean, I think you can't give him the GOAT. I think you would. I think he will be very soon. I think it's Brady. I hate Brady, but Brady, and then probably Montana, and then him if he retired. But I think he's the most talented that we've ever seen. I mean, when sidearm on the run, falling down, just accurate. He can run if he wants to in the pocket. He can do it all types.
He can run with a high ankle sprain.
I was about to say high ankle sprain,
bro.
Progress through his reads so quickly and make quick decisions. I mean, you just never seen somebody that can do it all at that level.
I think like he's just. It's not only is he's that talented, he's super smart too. Like he reads defenses so well. And I think the biggest thing we were talking about in our group chat, they didn't have Tyreek Hill. Listen, Travis Kelce is a Hall of Famer. Okay, he is. Like his stats are unreal. Like the only person to have more touchdowns in the Super Bowl is Jerry Rice.
Yep.
Like that's nuts.
But do they have a wide receiver one outside Travis Kelce, who's a tight end, but all their other receivers wouldn't be a first option on any team in the league. I mean, they really have, and
Juju would be a number two.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, Juju would be a number two. And here's the funniest thing. I was listening to ESPN this morning, shockingly enough, and they actually said, and I didn't actually think about this, Juju is the only outside wide receiver. All the other guys are slot guys.
Mm-hmm.
Like, where do you see that at? Like, they have all these really fast dudes, and they just run that offense. And like, man, I was worried in the first half because the Chiefs just they didn't look great. Like the Eagles offense, I mean, what was it? Like they had like 21 minutes of possession, and the Chiefs had 7.
Yeah,
but not on the field.
And now it got a little bit better for the Chiefs, but like I think the problem for the Eagles is like they had so much possession, but because of the turnover from Jalen Hurts, and then everything else, like they didn't pull away, and they needed to. They needed to pull away from the Chiefs.
And they're up by 10 points, but that's just not enough of a Mahomes. Mahomes loves coming back. I mean, that's what he does. I think I saw some stat like six Super Bowls. There have been like a double-digit comeback, and Mahomes has 2 of them in the last 4 years. I mean, he's the comeback king. That's what he does. They need to score at least one more touchdown to be safe.
And how about that trade for Kadarius Toney?
Oh,
right,
man,
how big that
ended up
worked
working
out for
out.
him.
Yeah,
the Eagles made
fantastic.
The Eagles only made 2 mistakes in this game. It was the fumble from Jalen Hurts.
Yep.
And then the second one was that punt. It was a terrible punt. It was low. And he got it. And listen, give him credit. He turned and listen, he
like Madden.
Dude, for real. I saw some post. Somebody was like, whose 13-year-old cousin is playing, Kadarius Toney right now on Madden. But no, it was one of those that set up. I mean, the momentum shifted and you felt it. And like that's the thing is like the Eagles then had a drive where they took like 7 minutes off the clock, but they got a field goal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's like you got to score a touchdown. Like you can't. In this type of game with the Chiefs, they're just gonna go. And I mean, it's just one of those that I think the biggest thing I noticed was Jalen Hurts ran a good amount in the first half. He didn't run that much in the second half, especially in the fourth quarter. And this is now listen, Jalen Hurts played better than I thought he was going to. And I'll say this, I think both these teams were the best teams in the NFL, hands down. I like me and Benny Boo here have doubted the Eagles all season, but I will say like they've been dominant all season. Listen, they have a loaded roster. You have a true number one wide receiver. You have a true number one tight end. You have a true number two wide receiver. The running backs, like the way they use them, it works for them. And they have probably the best offensive line in football. Like the Chiefs could not get near him. But it's one of those that, and their defense is really good. And that's where for me, I'm like, the Chiefs really overcame them because I think the Eagles were the better team. I still believe that. And
I agree.
I mean, it's one of those that it's nuts. I mean, that Mahomes, I'm sure he had a cortisone shot, something but then when he retweaked it, I was like, crap. Like
he still got that 28-yard run?
Yeah.
Yes, in the second half.
My wife was watching it. She didn't know that the quarterback had it. She's like, is that a running back running that slow? I was like, no, that's the Hobble quarterback.
Like, I'll tell you, he is a tough player to push through that. Like, regardless of what some people might say about his injury, Ben.
Let's go. Hate bias.
Like, yeah, it's one of those that he really pushed through, and that just shows his greatness. It does. I honestly think if anybody's going to give a run on Tom Brady being the GOAT, it's going to be him. I think it's going to be Mahomes. Now Mahomes is going to have to really win more Super Bowls, but I don't put it past him. But I think the biggest thing is the Eagles changed how they and this is my biggest thing is they changed how they were trying to approach the game in the third and fourth quarter, and they tried to actually run the ball more, not with Jalen. And Jalen was the one that was pushing them through. He was.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, he was.
He made some throws. Yeah, I was surprised at. I was like, wow, that was actually a pretty good throw, surprisingly enough. Because I don't think he's that accurate, but because I've always said like it's kind of like Lamar. Like Lamar's not accurate enough to win.
Jalen's not Lamar in the sense that he's improved like crazy. Like 5 years ago, he's benched because he can't throw. For Alabama, and like he's improved
3 years.
So much. Was that 3 years ago?
That was 3 years ago.
Man, see, he's so young. Yeah, 3 years ago. Anyways, I know he was
something like that, 3 or 4. Yeah,
he was benched, right? And he was doubted all year. He's just a runner, and he's gotten better and better and better. And I think he played but some of those throws are just money. The one that got the first touchdown. I mean,
the thing that he's going to struggle with is he doesn't sit in the pocket well. He just runs like he feels just like you watch Mahomes. Mahomes will sit in there as that pocket engulfs him, and like because he's waiting for something. Now he'll move when he needs to, but like I remember there was a couple plays where like there was one guy that kind of got through, but the offensive lineman still kind of had him, and Jalen just bolts.
Well, how much is that a scheme though? How much is that?
Well, it could be, but I think here's the problem though is, and this has been true of every running quarterback. There's gonna come a time where he cannot run the same. And I don't mean because in speed, I mean he's going to get beat up at some point. You watch everybody has Josh Allen, you have Dak, whoever. You eventually get hurt and you change how you play. I think if that ever happens with him, it could hurt his game because one of the most lethal things about him is that he can run.
Yeah.
So
I think he's still underrated as though. I don't think he's like sit in the pocket, tear him up from back there without moving around. No. I think his legs opens up his passing game. Obviously, because they have to pay so much.
I was surprised at how he developed, and I think he is going to surprise. He surprised me. I'll give it to him. He surprised me. Now I just hate the Eagles, so I hope he doesn't succeed. But
now the thing that to Dallas's and Giants and the Washington's credit or not credit, but they're going to be happy with is that they're going to have to do something next year. They're going to have to pay him. And he's going to take up $40 million of the cap. Right. Are they going to be able to keep AJ Brown? Are they going to have?
He's getting paid more than that.
Yeah. Well, see, that just makes the point even stronger. Who are they going to? Are they going to be able to keep this team like this? I mean, this was really their window. So I mean, and he's going to really have to step up. Because to your point earlier, they have a good team. Now, I still think he's better than what people gave him credit for. You see what happened when his backup came in with the same squad and lost 2 games in a row. But the team is just not going to be as strong, at least on paper.
And that's the thing is like they made some great trades and some great moves. Now I think next year is his last year of his deal.
He's not getting restructured that year though, or this offseason, I think.
Maybe. I mean, I can't imagine he's getting paid that much, so I don't know if they'd actually restructure it.
No, but, I mean, like he's gonna because I think he's gonna be in the position to demand like how they give an early
right.
Early contract.
No, I think it's one of those. The Eagles are probably gonna have to try and they're gonna have to give him almost Aaron Rodgers money, which is dumb. I don't think he's worth that. Just like if they're talking about re-signing Dak again, I'm like, oh please no.
I think, think about this, Mark. He in the NFC, he's worth that. If Aaron Rodgers leaves, the best quarterbacks in the NFC are going to be Purdy, Dak, and Hurts. Think about that. Who else? Who else is in the NFC? All the good quarterbacks are in the AFC. If Aaron Rodgers leaves, I mean the NFC is
come on, Sam Darnold.
No, I'm just kidding. That's the NFC, and that's why I think it's Colin Cowherd.
No. We still have Kirk Cousins in the
NFC. No.
Sorry, Ben. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to laugh like that.
No, I hate Kirk Cousins, Ben. So you're fine. Okay. I hate him so much.
Ben hates him so much. I don't hate him that much. So.
I can't stand him.
No, I'm just saying, like, this is probably like the worst it's been as far as parity between quarterbacks in the NFC and AFC in a long time. And it shows you how good Patrick Mahomes is.
The real tell to see if Hurts is going to be worth the money is if they don't have as talented of a team, can he do the same thing?
Yep. I think he's worth the money. You have to because of the market. It's not about like, is he actually worth the money? It's like, you're not going to get anybody else. And if he leaves, you're going to be stuck.
Yeah, for sure. Benny Boo, were you saying something?
I agree with Ben because, I mean, he plays in the weakest conference. I mean, the NFC is 100% the weakest conference. Look, again, we've talked about, Mark and I have been preaching it all year about their schedule for the Eagles. I mean, it's not necessarily their fault because their conference sucks. I mean,
honestly,
they were good this year, at least.
I felt like in the NFC this year, listen, I'm not even going to say the Cowboys were a good team. I don't think they were. I think the 49ers and the Eagles were the best two teams, hands down, in the NFC. But like, you look in the AFC, you have the Bills, you have the Chiefs, you have the Bengals, there's like 5 teams that are pretty decent. The Jaguars are up and coming, and I mean, it's one of those that, like, I look at the NFL this year and I feel like, especially the NFC, they were so weak this year. And the Eagles did have an easier road. Now, they were still the best team, hands down. But, like, they had an easier road because the NFC just sucked. And when you have the Giants making the playoffs, like, come on. That Giants team was not good. Brian Daboll did a good job, but they weren't good. So let's move on real quick, though. Obviously, I think Andy Reid is the number 2 coach behind Belichick. I just think he's solidified himself there. But was it a penalty?
To me, I think it was a penalty, like by letter of the law,
by the book,
by the book. I think I had a friend that made the analogy: if somebody's going 43 over 40, they're speeding. Yes, you're going 43, you're 3 miles over the speed limit. I think is that there's holds like that a lot during the game that they don't call. So to call it right then was just tough, man.
That was the only holding call last night.
Yeah, it's crazy. To call that right then is just tough. And like, I'm not a big conspiracy person at all. And I'm not saying that this is a conspiracy, but it adds fodder because this has happened twice, at least twice in the last 2 big games. Mahomes, who I love, has had a call that was game changing, go in his favor. Yeah. And
the one that happened in the AFC Championship game was like blatant. So it's like, okay, you got to call.
Yeah, but it was just bang bang though. It was just tough, And then there's a call before that was like, I forgot what it was. It was basically was a 3rd down. They didn't hear it. They got a whole new down because they couldn't hear the call, and they played a whole play that was messed up, and they got to redo it or something. Like, it was just stuff like that Mahomes is getting. Again, Mahomes.
We're only slight conspiracy theorists on here. So, Benny,
maybe understatement. So I'm not a big conspiracy theory guy, but it's just I think it's just bad calls at the wrong time. Obviously, I could never do the ref job, but it's just horrible calls at the wrong time that goes towards the superstar's favor.
Benny Boo?
No, I like what Ben has to say. I 100% think it's a penalty. I mean, Eagles, he even said after the game, I held him, and he was hoping he wasn't going to call it. I feel
he said
like
I tugged on his jersey.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And it was obvious. I get the whole side of things, like don't let the refs get involved or anything like that. But I just, a penalty is a penalty. I mean, I like the analogy of the 43 and a 40. You're still speeding. You throw the flag regardless. Like, I mean, I said this to you guys beforehand. If Eagles fans had reversed and Chiefs had held the guy and there was no flag, I mean, they would be up in arms about it. But the one thing I do wish they would change is the automatic first down. I think that part is stupid. I think 5 yards and that's it. I don't think you should get an automatic first down kind of thing. That's the only thing I would switch about it.
So I'm going to partially disagree with you guys. And I've listened to a couple different people on this, and most people take what you guys, and listen, I'm not going to necessarily totally disagree. Like, is it a penalty? Yeah. But when you talk to when you listen to a lot of the guys in the NFL, there is holding on every single play.
Exactly. I mean, I agree.
And the problem is like I watched that and I go, I wouldn't be mad. Like you watch Juju. Juju didn't even respond. Like he didn't even like look for a flag. He didn't. Like he just went about it because that happens on every play. Like I look at that and I go, I don't think that's a flag. I don't think that's a penalty. He wasn't
gonna be able to catch it. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing is I think it was too far. Yeah. And I'm just like, I don't think that's a penalty, especially at that. It's kind of like in basketball, right? Like it's like, remember that Ben, we talked about this one before, when LeBron looked for that foul. Did he get fouled? Yeah, he did. But like when you watch that in like slow-mo, you can see it, but not in full speed. And so
that ref at that angle can see that full speed. Okay, that's another issue. That's another topic. But
but regardless, but like at the end of games, when the game is on the line, typically referees are supposed to let them play. Like the problem I had with this game was the refs actually called a pretty good game. They didn't throw many flags. Like they were pretty consistent. They missed like a holding call on the Eagles earlier in the game on Juju.
False start.
Oh, geez. Okay. Like I have to go off on this for a second. Lane Johnson is false starting every single time. He is moving before the ball is hiked. I don't care how many times they're like, the commentators like, no, he's not. I'm like, yes, he is. I just watched it. Like, okay, sorry. That's my rant. He is, oh my gracious. It's so bad. He's the best right tackle. Yeah, because they let him go false start every single time. He's
I agree,
like 3
Mark.
feet. He's 3 feet back before they even hike the ball. But no. I think that my biggest thing is it was not consistent. That call was not consistent with the game, and that's where it's just like, come on, like, is it technically a penalty? Sure, but then you'd be throwing flags on every play all game, and it's just. Now, do I like the outcome? Of course I do. I didn't want the Eagles to win. I wanted the Chiefs to win. But like that was it was anticlimactic. Like it was just kind of like you knew the game was over. Now, the flip side with the guy, was it Bradbury? Was that the guy who held him?
Yep.
Like the thing I don't totally understand either was you need to be like the Chiefs were very smart with how they did everything. They showed their experience. With McKinney going down early, stuff like that. Like Bradbury should have just let him go, because guess what? If they score, you still have a minute and a half to go down and score. Why hold when that ends the game? Like let him go. And honestly, like, he tugged the jersey because he thought he'd get away with it because they hadn't called it all game, and then they finally called it. And it's a bummer. Like. Obviously, everyone would have loved to see Jalen try to take him down. I'm just glad it didn't happen because I wanted them to lose. So, but no, it's one of those that, obviously everyone's going to have controversy, but I think Ben's right. When he says, if it was the flip side, Eagles would have been losing their mind, throw the flag. So, it's one of those that, it happened the way it happened. And listen, you can't blame the refs for losing the game. You can't.
No, you can't.
Because guess what? Jalen Hurts doesn't have to fumble the ball.
True.
And they don't have to give up, what is it, 30-something yard, kickoff return or a punt return.
It was farther than that. I think it was like 40, 50 yards or something.
Yeah, it was 65. Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, there's things that you could have done different in that game to win the game. So, you can't blame the refs. All right. So we'll move on. We're going to talk some NBA trade deadline. Dude, there were so many picks sent to other people Like I was like, there was that one trade that was like 5 second-round picks. I was like, what?
There's like 2 or 3 of them.
They're passing them around, man.
Yeah, for real.
Dude. Like, all right. So first and foremost, Kevin Durant coming to Phoenix. We're all super excited now. At the same time, we are also heartbroken. Like, I don't really have a team anymore in the NBA. And like, I'll root for the Suns. I got to go to the Suns game. It was cool. But like Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson, everyone loved them here.
Mm-hmm.
And so for them to get traded to go to a broken Brooklyn team, I mean, now, granted, they gave up 4 first-round picks, which the funniest thing is that's still not more than the Timberwolves gave up for Rudy Gobert. That has to be one of the worst trades of all time.
Yeah.
They gave up like 6 first-round picks, I think. 6 for Rudy Gobert, and they're barely going to make the playoffs, if they make the playoffs. Like,
yeah, they needed some interior defense, but they could have got a more value guy than Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert is great, but obviously he's not helping towards their win share so much.
But I mean, with KD going to the Phoenix, I mean, they're a contender now. They are.
But yeah,
like as long as he's healthy.
Kevin Durant, Chris Paul, Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton. I mean, that is if they're all healthy, and that's a big asterisk, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, somebody called them the all hospital team at any given time. But if they're all, because I mean, they've had an injury history. But Chris Paul, he's the vocal leader. Everybody knows KD doesn't like to be a vocal leader, but he leads by just wakes up and balls. He doesn't brush his hair.
Well, this is a perfect scenario for Chris Paul because now he can just pass the ball. So, and I mean, this is going to open Booker up. The Ayton's going to have a day. But I also read they're also apparently Terrence Ross got released and he's going to sign with them. And I'm like, that's a great addition. The guy they got in the trade with KD is a good addition. Like he's
so if he's healthy, he went off in the bubble a couple of years ago. TJ Warren,
he's a good role player, man. Like they're probably my favorites for the West now. You know, I mean, I think Denver's going to give them a run for sure. Denver's a good team this year. I was surprised Denver didn't make a trade to really bolster themselves. I was really surprised by that.
Yeah, I think Denver's good. Don't get me wrong. I just think they're overrated as a playoff team, as a 7-game playoff team against the best teams in the West. I just don't think they have enough defense. I think they'll beat adjusted. I think they're great. They're going to win a lot in the season.
They have a lot of role players. They have a lot of role players, and like they're like they have Jokic obviously, and then you have Murray, who they didn't have last year, and that's the thing is Jokic almost took him by himself, and I'm like, dude, they got Murray this year, and who knows where Westbrook goes, because Westbrook's he's going to get released from the Jazz, so
he's going to want to buy out too. So he's going to
go to Chicago.
Yeah. Please no. I mean, I like Westbrook is no shade on him. I think a lot of the shade on him personally is just uncalled for. But he's a hard player. I just think, I'm a Lakers fan and a Bulls fan, mostly a Bulls fan, but I like the Lakers as well. I just don't think he's going to fit well with either of those teams. Obviously, he didn't, except a little bit. He did better off the bench, but he just, with his contract and his long term, he just wasn't a good fit there. I think he might go to Miami. And I think he'd do well. And
that'd be a good fit for him. Well. I know they were trying to get rid of Lowry, but they didn't get rid of him. So
I think he'd go to Miami.
But then obviously Kyrie got traded to Dallas. And I saw all these people in the media were like, oh, I'm hurt because he should have gone to the Lakers. I'm like, the Lakers didn't have enough to give them.
Well, no, you saw that the not the owner, or maybe it's the GM for the Nets, said his main goal was not to allow Kyrie to go to his favorite destination, which is the Lakers. So he was stonewalling that. So even the Lakers gave him a great package.
Yeah, but I mean Dallas gave him a better package though. Let's just be honest.
Yeah, but I mean I'm just saying that's what the owner said. He's like, not the owner, but the GM. He was like, I'm not allowing Kyrie to get his favorite destination. So that's the thing. Like short term, I think this Kyrie thing's going to be great offensively. Both Luka and Kyrie are limited defensively. But offensively, I think it's going to be amazing. I don't think Kyrie, unless they get a championship, which they're not, I don't think Kyrie signs their long. I think he leaves. So
No.
I think Cuban gambled. Cuban and those guys, I think they gambled.
I have heard rumors they want him in Phoenix, but I don't see how that's possible. So
I think he goes to LA next. I think he goes to LA.
I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised. But then obviously the Lakers made some trades.
Yes.
So which they made enough trades to get themselves into the playoffs, probably.
Yeah, I think depending on where the seeding is, I think they could maybe get out the first round. But yeah, depending on who they play, might bounce out the first round. But it's just good to see them competitive, at least from my perspective. You're not a big LA fan, but Russell, he shoots like 38.5% from like pull up threes, and I think a 39.5% from like catch and shoot threes, and like we didn't have anybody like that, before.
No,
so
getting Russell is going to help you guys just scoring wise. Westbrook, the problem is he's not a great shooter. He's just not, and
better off the bench. But
he is actually better off the bench. He is a great sixth man because as your starters are resting, he can come in and play with the scrubs, defense, and I mean he can just do what he wants to do. That's I think his best role, but he wants to be a star. And it's like, well, that's not who you are anymore. But but then there was a couple like minor, there was a lot of other trades. Some that were odd, like Golden State trading back for like Gary Payton.
Yeah. That's just a waste of, Wiseman. They picked him with the number 2 pick. And now they're giving him a bad pick, a few years later.
I mean,
so it's crazy.
Yeah, he hadn't done a lot. He'd been hurt a lot. Obviously the Clippers traded for Eric Gordon. So that'll help them. I mean, they got rid of John Wall, brought in Eric Gordon. That helps them, but I mean, I don't think they're going to overcome any of the other teams in the West.
Well, I think that's a big pickup, that Eric Gordon for. He can stretch the floor. They're starting.
He's a good number 3 player for that team. Yep. He really is. With Paul George and Kawhi there, so that's actually a fairly big lineup, to be honest with you. I think the funniest thing was that Toronto were not sellers. I thought they were going to sell everybody, and they just didn't trade anybody, and they ended up trading for a center from the Spurs. I was like, what the? Like,
they talk so much about it. I mean, about Anunoby and Van Fleet. Yeah. I mean, they talked about it was going on for like weeks and weeks and weeks, and then just like you got closer and closer to that 3 p.m. deadline, and no trades at all. But then, like you said, I mean, they traded for Podol from the Spurs. Like, are you trying to go for it this year? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
I was ticked at the Bulls not doing anything.
Yeah,
we're fighting for a play-in, and they don't trade anybody.
Yeah,
it's just like you really just offended your fan base there. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, do that meme? Do something. It's like that's what like Bulls do something, and they did. They didn't do anything.
Yeah.
All right, so I think the real question is there? Obviously, we may have already talked about some of this, but like, what surprised you the most at the trade deadline?
I mean, I've already said it. I really think the Raptors not sending any of their assets to anybody. I mean, Van Fleet's a free agent after the year.
Yeah.
I felt like they were going to get a lot for OG, and that just never materialized. I feel like that to me was just the biggest.
It's not his last year, is it? With OG?
I think he's got another year under his contract.
Okay,
maybe two.
I wouldn't be shocked if they trade him in the offseason.
Same. Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked either, but just to get something out of him, because I don't know if Van Fleet's going to stay. I mean, I just didn't.
I doubt it.
Very surprised. Very surprised.
Yeah, the two biggest shockers. One was as a Bulls fan, I was just shocked and appalled that they didn't make a move.
Yeah.
So that was, that was shocker to me. And then Kyrie, I know you said it shouldn't be a shocker, but they were playing so well. They're on a winning streak. He seemed to be getting along. I had to watch some of those games, getting along with everybody. Then all of a sudden, I want to trade. And I think that was almost, he did that. He felt disrespected in how they treated him when his controversy. And he was just waiting for the right time to get out of there. And that dominoed Kevin Durant. So that whole piece was just the biggest shocker.
I think for me, it was so funny because people were like, oh, they broke it up. I'm like, if they trade Kyrie, they're trading Kevin Durant.
Oh yeah,
like that's just not a question. And like, I think I would agree with both of your surprises. I understand the Lakers moves. I was a little surprised they didn't try to get more. But like, I don't know. I mean, they'll make the playoffs now. Well, that's the thing is like, I think I think
Kyrie was
Kyrie's
the more. Yeah.
literally the only thing.
And the other guy was like, the GM was like, no, I don't care.
Yeah,
Unless you give me
that's
LeBron.
where,
No.
well, I almost thought like I think according to like with Benny Boo, like I was surprised Fred VanVleet wasn't traded, like because he would be a great asset to a team. Because I mean, he's a good player. Like I'm not saying superstar, but like he's a good player that can add to your team. So I think again, the most surprising thing to me though was how many draft picks were traded. Like just it was candy.
Right.
Just the Brooklyn Nets. How many did they get for Kyrie? 3?
Man, it was it 3 or 4 plus all those
looking it
players.
up.
There's I know I saw they have 11 now. So like as bad as it is to get rid of Kyrie and KD, bad or good because of their personalities.
They only traded 1 first-round pick. They gave up
but they
one.
received.
So they gave the Brooklyn Nets received Dinwiddie and Finney Smith, and they got the 2027 second round pick, 2029 first round and second round pick.
But I mean, can you honestly blame the Mavs for not wanting to get more than one?
That was a great trade.
Because I mean, yes, Kyrie, as far as talent, he's worth 3 to 4 like KD, but just everything else that happens and that comes with Kyrie, I think, is the major turnoff to teams.
Well, plus it's his last year.
That's true.
His contract. So
that's true as well.
I would love to see him re-sign in Dallas. I would love that. I would love to see somebody play with Luka. I think he'd be a perfect fit there. I don't think I think he'll go to the Lakers. But let me ask this for D'Lo. Is he a free agent after this year, or does he still have contract?
I do know he has a massive contract right now on the book still, but
that's going to be the problem. Is they would have to
that 47. I think it's something crazy like 47 mil or something like that for him because I think he signed from that Golden State.
Oh no, he's a free agent next year.
Okay, so they took on part of that contract, but he's off.
Yeah,
he probably would want to stay with the Lakers, but if the Lakers can get something better is the thing. They probably keep him if they can't get something.
If they can get Kyrie, the only danger of getting Kyrie is you're going to have an older roster, an injury-prone roster.
Yeah, but LeBron and Kyrie are already proven that they play well together.
Yeah,
and they'd take the chance on that.
Now, obviously, LeBron says he's the best of all time. So which I disagree with very strongly. I think the big thing is this, and I saw somebody post something about this, and I totally agreed with it. Was like no one looked at Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and said he was the best of all time because he had the most points. So I still don't think the same about LeBron.
Well, I think if you think all my friends and all the people I know that think LeBron is the GOAT, they thought he was the GOAT before this record. All the people that don't think he's the GOAT, including myself. Now, I like LeBron a lot. Now, I'm a Michael Kobe guy. Those are my guys, right? But I've gone, especially post Miami, I've gone to like LeBron a lot. But if you didn't think he was the GOAT, he wasn't the GOAT before this record. If you did think he was the GOAT, he was the GOAT before this record.
It didn't change it for anybody.
It didn't change.
I think this came up because people were starting to say, "Oh, well, now that he has the record, he's the best of all time." And it's like, whoa, time. And that's where I think you're totally spot on.
It was a good.
It didn't sway a lot of people.
Yeah,
it didn't sway anybody, and of course, he thinks he's the best. I mean, obviously,
it's still an amazing feat.
Agreed.
Because he still is not. He might get 40. Listen, this guy might get like 43,000 points, 10,000 plus rebounds, 10,000 plus or more assists. I mean, that's just staggering. Like,
Ben,
I mean,
you can take this in because the one time I'm going to say some nice things about LeBron. Okay.
Oh man, I want to hear this. I need to double
hold on tight. All right. So I will say this. Like, listen, I think LeBron is top 3 all time. I really do. I mean, I think you can't disrespect like what he's done in the sense of he's achieved a lot. Like, I mean, I think the biggest thing I look at LeBron is he's just a freak of nature.
Yes.
And how he's taken care of his body, how he has dominated. I think part of how he's dominated is due to his size. He's such a big dude, 6'9". You can do whatever you want. Yeah. I mean, like, it's one of those that you can't disrespect that. Like I give credit to him for scoring as much as he has, playing as long as he has. Like I think that's
genetics and money. I think he spends what is $1 million a year on his body,
something like that. I mean,
something like crazy.
He is committed to his craft. He's a great businessman. Like, listen, I'm going to give props to him for that. Michael Jordan is still better, but it's one of those that, it's just one of those that I can give respect for that. I don't like him, but I can give respect for what he's done. And that is a great feat. It's a great accomplishment, especially being this late in his career. So, I think it was big for him. And I still hold to Ben. I want to know your thoughts on this, because me and Benny Boo have talked about this before. I still think his son goes in the draft and the Cavs get him and he goes back to the Cavs.
Storybook.
Dude, I think that's what's going to happen. Come on. I don't remember what year his son is in college. I think we said he was like a junior or something.
Well, he's a senior. He's a senior in high school right now.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, man.
I thought he was in college already.
No, he isn't.
Nah, bro. He's Sierra King in California. Same one that man, there's some other studs that are there.
I don't know if LeBron's going to last that long.
Well, no, Dwayne
Wade,
man. Yeah. So I think he's going to. I mean, LeBron can last for another 3. Like, if he's okay with just going 15-10 or something like that. But I think he's going to be doing what he's doing for another couple of years, and then you might get a downturn. But he can play for another 3, 4 year, 5 years if he wanted to, and still be.
I think the hard thing for him will be is if his body starts breaking down as he gets older. It's just. That's the thing. But listen, he's going to keep doing what he's doing. He's done it at a high level, so
he's scoring 30 points a game, man.
That's what I'm saying. Since he turned 38, he's turned it up.
Yeah, but again, I will still hold to it when you have superstars that you play with. It is easier to do that. So, all right. Well, we were going to end with one last thought. All right, our one last thought to today. Oh man, I can't talk. Our one last thought for today is brought to us none other than from Travis Kelce. I was trying to find a sound clip of this, but I couldn't find it. I couldn't get a downloadable one. But you got to fight for your right to party. I would yell, but my wife will get mad at me because I'm sure the baby is sleeping. So, oh man, I love Travis Kelce. I'm sorry when he just comes on, just does. I'm like, yeah, get him.
I love it. Ain't now one of y'all picked us. Ain't now one of y'all. He was hyped up, man.
Dude, listen, I think that he's had such a great career, and I can't believe when I saw the stats, I couldn't believe it. So, it's great for them. I'm happy for the Chiefs. They earned it. But guys, that's going to do it for us tonight. We appreciate you guys listening. As always, you've been listening to The Benchmark.